Thank God it's Friday. So I let my color show and we're all looking beautiful. Welcome to the show. This is Your View on TVC. I am Tokwe Mark Odige. And all my beautiful ladies are showing off Obiajulu's latest collection for the lovers. For the lovers.
House of BC.
BC has created a new line. Don't buy them boxers. Buy them T-shirts, a direct T-shirts for Valentine. Because you know why? The Association of Men spoke to me and told me that they are tired of receiving boxers, singlets, handkerchiefs like they are going for cultural dance on Valentine's Day. Yeah. I should do something about it. And me being a fashion mogul, I decided to give them a direct T-shirt for Valentine's. So please, buy for your boyfriends, your husbands, your partners, your side gigs, whatever. Just patronize me. All right, so at the end of the day, I like the idea that both male and female can wear it. So it sort of like does like a mixed match thing. So, BC, how you... I'm already taking your own. If I come to my...
okay, so David does a shout out.
Okay.
A girl, her name is Oluwafi Kwanyomi. Wale Shogbamu. Her own is Fikun. Her mom is Mikun. And this is a shout out from her dad. She's turning 11 tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 7th, right? Yeah. So tomorrow is her birthday. Happy birthday, Fikun. And so sorry.
I have a shout out for 60th. He said that my brother-in-law is 60 tomorrow. That's today. Mr. Samuel Ayobami Bernard. It is from Olubukola Thompson. So Olubukola Thompson is wishing Ayobami Bernard happy 60th birthday, sir. Many more years in good health.
So Alaja Modupe Ajibola turns 70 on the 5th. That's yesterday. Yes, a birthday shout out from her daughter Nusiro and her husband Alaji Mohammed Rahim. And there's one that I mustn't forget. It's from a sister-in-law to her brother-in-law, and I'm really looking for it. So they're saying thanks to him for all that he's done. I can't find where I left that message, but when I find it, I'll do it.
So, you have a shout out too? Well, for me, it's with heavy hearts, really. My husband lost his cousin. And so my in-laws, the Longes, have lost a brother. He was a father. His late chief, Barrister Michael Adilonge, for many people, Uncle Mike, he used to be the Assistant Comptroller General of Immigration. And he's passed away. He'll be laid to rest tomorrow in Edo State. And this is specifically from my husband, Aditokunbo Longe, and I to all the Longes at home and abroad. Our thoughts and our prayers are with each and every one of you, and especially to Auntie Eniton and the children. May his soul rest in peace. Amen.
May his soul rest in peace.
Can I quickly just do this? Oh, yeah. I'm really sorry that I have to do it after such a solemn. Okay. But the birthday shout out for the in-law, his name is Sheikh Midwanullah Obafemi Kuku, from his sister-in-law and the wife's families. They're saying that he's been a wonderful in-law and thanks for his help.
So one more shout out.
Yeah, one more shout out. So this is wishing Omolola Ademola a happy birthday. She's a fan. She's going to, her birthday is actually tomorrow, and she's a huge fan of ours all the way from Canada. Happy birthday, Omolola.
Wow, it's a birthday shout out week. It's weekend.
This last one, fine. Obayanju is wishing his mom a happy birthday, Mrs. Obayanju Emu, from one of our fans abroad.
Let me celebrate Mr. and Mrs. Obichi. That's Godfrey and Godry Obichi for 27 years of marriage. They're the MD and of Rain Oil. They've been very good mentors to me. So it's a shout out Friday. We'll do all the other gist later. Follow us on social media for more information about what's going on in our life.
Yeah. Our producer,
all right, we'll take a quick break.
Buki, our producer, wants to say congratulations to Ramat Hassan and David Amarvi for their wedding coming up tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Congrats. Moving on quickly, we'll go through the front page of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. We'll be starting front page review today with the Nigerian Tribune. Major headline: IGP, 3 months for Adamu, wrong. That's from PDP, Adegboruwa, and Ezekume. For now, Nigeria has no IGP recognized by law, they say. In other news, alleged money laundering, Meina's son,
Faisal flees to U.S. EFCC tells court. NDDC Senate raises the alarm over 6.25 billion naira palliative expenditure. Amoteco flushes out 37 herdsmen, 5,000 cows from forest reserve in Ondo State. Police intensify efforts to rescue kidnapped Chinese miners in Osun. Buhari nominates Olonishakin, Buratai, other ex-service chiefs as ambassadors. Varsity workers' strike takes off midnight today. If cattle rearers are giving Fulani a bad name, they should stop it. That's from Asemuta. Open grazing is obsolete. That's from Tude Bakari. Insurgents, criminals should not be allowed to tear Nigeria apart. That's from El Rufai. Eviction of herdsmen portends danger to peaceful coexistence. That's from Northern Governors. And court upholds Lagos State restriction order on Okada Keke Napep. So, what story are we taking? What's happening with NDDC?
Yeah, so the Ambassador Sobomabo Jack Rich, he was the head for the agency COVID-19 distribution committee, and that's for NDDC. So he wrote a petition to the Senate, and is accusing the head, IMC, that's the Interim Management Committee. We remember the one that was the former Interim Management Committee led by Professor Daniel Ponde. He's accusing them of squandering the 6.25 million, that 6.25 billion naira that was earmarked for COVID-19 palliatives for that region. And he's saying that nothing was done concerning palliatives, that they were sidelined. Those in the distribution committee themselves were sidelined, and the IMC committee took that money away, and for many did something with it. And what they did, they tried to cover up the squandering of that money by giving people spoiled food items that clearly did not reflect the 6.25 billion naira that was given for that region. And he said that he was also they have also tried to bribe him with bags of rice and beans, but he has refused to play along. And so the Senate is asking that NDDC come on the 22nd of February to defend itself. I hope this time no mics will be turned off and everybody, no faintings, and everybody will be allowed to speak for and again. You know, let's know what happened to 6.25 billion in that region.
So Amoteco is recording success.
So Ondo State's commander of the Security Network Agency, Amoteco, yesterday said they've driven out 37 herdsmen and there are over 5,000 cows, which they send them out of the forest reserves. Now, one of the reasons they did that is their refusal to register with the state, and some of them are violating the laws of the land. Now, they did this in collaboration with Miyetti Allah as well. So, and some of the headers decided to opt out, said they could not, cope with the regulations of the land, and they wanted to go to other states. So they were escorted to the border of those states. I wanted to mention the state Osun, Edo, and Kogi. Now, Amoteco is saying that they, follow up and ensure that they do not, because most times they go in the night so that they don't destroy farms on their way going into out of the Ondo State and going into other states. So they also admonishing the farmers that if there's any form of crisis where headers come in and eat up their crops, instead of just waiting around or taking laws into their hands, they should report to Amoteco. They can easily fish them out at that time.
Major headline of the Tribune.
Is it not somewhere else? I'm sure it to be somewhere else. Let's take the Punch major headline from the Punch. States differ as Zamfara Gombe begin ranching, or your Cross River others oppose project. Ruga settlement nearing completion. That's from Zamfara. Ranching set to take off, says Nasarawa. Cattle rearing is private business, says Oyo. No budget for ranching for now. That's from Ekiti. Ondo deploy Amoteco into forest reserves and eject errant headers. Seizes 5,000 cows. Other news, man jumps to death from 1004 high-rise fleeing EFCC raid. Oyo farmers return to communities raised by Fulani man. That's from Monarch. Gunmen raid FCT community, kill Punch reporter, 2 others. Sad. And again, Senate summoned an NDDC over 6.25 billion naira palliative sharing. EFCC describes how Maynard's son fled to US through Niger. Total pension assets rose to 12.3 trillion in 2020. That's from PENCOM. Ohaneze once again inciting comments, condemns headsmen's lawlessness. SAN faults IG's 3-month tenure extension. PDP or others oppose Buratai ex-service chiefs' nomination as ambassadors. Now, why? What happened with the 1004?
Okay, I have that. I thought you wanted to take a story. Okay, so a man was said to have jumped from the 7th floor of 1004 following a sting operation by EFCC and police officers. So this was done. EFCC had gotten, I think, intelligence that there are some group of Yahoo boys, you know, operating in that area, and so they had gone there to make the arrest. But unfortunately, this person jumped, on seeing them, he jumped through the window. Even though EFCC said he wasn't even the target, his name was not even on the list. So for some reason, he saw them and he got afraid, and then he jumped from the 7th floor. Probably had something to hide. Or just hide. I don't know why you would panic so much that you jump out of the window.
Not all of us are in the right mental state. So the way some people react to simple
when they hear,
you know, it worries.
So anyway, EFCC says that they're going to investigate to find out his identity, because as of this report, we're not.
I saw the video. It was
all right. Gunmen.
Yes. So on Wednesday, gunmen in Abuja, Kubwa. Arab Road, Kubwa, abducted a Punch reporter. According to the wife's story, said he was working with his laptop about 11 p.m. when 5 men jumped into the compound, you know, shot into the air, threatened them. They had to open the door, and then they dragged him out. They went to the neighbor's apartment as well and dragged one of the sons out, ransacked all that they had. They were actually asking for money. And then they took the boy. The younger brother was running after his brother. They carried him as well and left. The police has confirmed the story, and investigations are ongoing. That's all.
It's basically, Nima, the story of Mina's son.
Okay, so according to the EFCC lawyer, I'm sorry, the prosecution, I don't know whether, I can't ascertain whether it's for the EFCC, the boy has jumped bail. He hasn't appeared in court for his own trial since June 24. And, you know, they've applied to the court to vacate his bail terms. Yes, he was arrested in Sokoto, and his passport, Nigerian and American visa, passport seized by the government. But he, according to the prosecution again, fled the country through Niger, and presently he's in the U.S. His lawyer is insisting that he spoke with his client, and that his client is still in police custody. As at the time they spoke last, he confirmed that he was with the police in Sokoto where he was arrested. But he doesn't know. He himself cannot show whether, you know, he has, you know.
The man is still in Nigeria.
They asked the senator, the honorable member that stood bail for him, to pay the said amount.
Moving on to the Vanguard, major headline, eviction, Northern governors reply, Akeredolu, Igboho, others. Court upholds restriction on Okada tricycle riders in Lagos. 2023, why INEC creating more polling units 25 years after. So why is INEC creating more polling units?
So INEC says that the last time polling units were created was in '96 by the then NECON, that's the National Electoral Commission of Nigeria. And since then till today, we have 119,973 polling units. And of course, given the time frame, is due for more polling units across the 6 geopolitical zones. And they're saying that one of the reasons they think is one of the causes for the voters' apathy, for insecurity, may just be lack of access to polling units that are closer to electorate.
Sounds good.
Moving
on to Daily Sun, major headline, Northern governors case trial of criminal headsmen. Lobbying intensifies as Buhari extends IGP tenure by 3 months. SAN faults decision. Cancer cases in Africa doubled in the last 20 years. So that story yesterday. How I was beaten up by policemen. That's from Imo Monarch. I want to take the lobbying story quickly.
So the IGP, you know, we debated that Wednesday has had his tenure extended for 3 months by the president, as announced by the head of the Police Service Commission. And a lot, of course, as expected, a lot of lawyers are disagreeing with that, saying that the law is clear, that you cannot reinstate a retired police officer into the service. And, you know, some people are agreeing that the president did it under a necessity, and they are finding... Kunle Adegoke, I don't know if it's an essay, Barrister Kunle Adegoke disagreed, saying that the president needed time to, you know, to find a replacement that is worthy of, you know, and saying that...
But currently it's illegal. Moving on to the Northern
yeah, so Northern Governors Forum, led by Plateau State Governor Simon Bakola Long, is just saying that concerning headers leaving, criminal headers or criminal bandits, you know, that is being discussed right now and being asked to leave certain regions. He's just insisting that all Nigerians have the right to carry out their businesses across Nigeria, and that people of the crime should be separated from their ethnicity, and that in order to preserve and push and foster peaceful coexistence, we need to separate that. Those who are criminal, those who have been caught with the crime should be prosecuted, but that should not be used to paint the whole
What happened to
the traditional ruler of Uzobi Umona community in Olu local government area of Imo State, Eze Boniface Chigere, narrated how he was being beaten up by officers of the Nigerian police. According to him, it was during the Olo crisis where they had the military and IPOB soldiers, and he said he was coming back from a meeting, traditional elders council, and then the police caught him, saw him, stopped him, and brought him out of his car, asked him to prostrate, to lie down on the floor in front of his subordinates, according to him, and so subjects. And so he was waiting for the Commissioner of Police to, you know, take action before he does anything. He feels really sad about the incident.
Sadly, we can't take the nation. I was really curious to find out how Kogi State is fighting COVID-19, but if
it's
you
an
want
advertorial. It's like almost a 5-page advertorial.
Oh, okay. So if you want to know how Kogi State is fighting COVID-19, go and read it in the nation.
There's a
That's what we can take on
that
page. But today, when we return, we have lots of stories for you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're back at it again. Another story that caught our attention. We found the story on social media and we cannot but discuss it. A popular justice recently found out that his 3 children from his ex-wife are not his biological children after carrying out a DNA test. What are your thoughts on this? Again, join the conversation by tweeting to us at TVC Connect. Our phone lines are still down, but we'd love to hear from you. So, Nima, all of us are generally tired of all these DNA stories. Yeah, I know we're tired, but why is it that it's coming out more now than before? What's happening? This man said his wife, peculiar part of the story was his wife had moved out about 11 years. They are divorced. 11 years before he had moved out, and he found out that they said this children he's been raising were not his, and then he did a DNA test. Why are we seeing this in our society?
Okay, let me just, I will not go far on what we're saying. I will talk about this particular case in question. I feel that the justice, with all due respect, acted out of proportion and in a very selfish manner. The woman in question had moved out, so they are no longer married. The children, you found out they are not yours by DNA. You didn't have to go public with that information because these children are still within your household. As he wrote, they were raised by his wife, that he also did a DNA on our kids and found out they were his. You know, I think too much ego sometimes. The things that we should put out publicly, we don't put out. The woman did not come out to dispute anything. They're not in court dragging anything. So there's no point we knowing.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And if at all, for anything at all, for the sake of the children, you simply tell them quietly, make an arrangement that, you know, that is dignifying for the interest of the children. Everybody go to sleep. Life continues. You know, but he did a press briefing. And
so for me, listening to press briefing, so first of all, I'll acknowledge that what the man must be going through is horrible and must be painful. And, you know, I cannot even understand where his mind is at now, to think that his first 3 children, whom he has raised, they've gone all all the way to university, I think. And I think they said the youngest one is about 17. So this is their father, and these are his children through and through. But I acknowledge that what has happened is really painful. And sometimes in the heat of the moment, you may not really think through your decisions. Now, but having said that, I have to agree with NYMA, where I felt that for the sake of these children, there's a better way that it could have been handled. But from the tone of that press briefing, I think that probably the former wife had been giving the second wife issues. For me, it felt like he was trying to make sure that there was, yes, put it out there that, see, this woman, see, first of all, this woman has left me a long time ago. Even the children have been living with her. Secondly, this one at home has taken care of these children like they were hers. No one would have been able to tell the difference. So for me, it was like, this was about the second wife. This was about maybe an issue that they're having. And I think usually the sort of issues that may occur will be first wife saying, former wife saying, well, since he married her, my children are not being taken care of, but, you know, monies are not coming, you know, they're not going to school, maybe good schools, or they're not just getting the sort of attention she expects for her children, and blame it on the second wife. So in his bid to protect his second wife, because he referred to her on 2 occasions, how he felt that was really unfortunate that he had to also put her through that DNA testing to prove that her own children were his, you know. But in that, I just still feel that for the sake of the children, because he mentioned about the first wife that whoever her boyfriend or boyfriends are, those children, right now, the carpet has been pulled from under them, just like as he, you know, as he is. And first of all, they've realized that their mother has betrayed all of them, and now the only father that they know seems to have just disappeared. Just publicly embarrass them as well. You know, publicly put their story out there. So they have friends that they usually hang out with, and they are talking amongst themselves. And
all of them now know. And these are like, they are 17. The last one is 17.
You know, I was going to just add this last part out. You know, I was discussing it with someone. I said, there's something about not opening your mouth and saying something. So you always be a doubt. Like, is it true? Is it not true? But when your own father has opened his mouth and has put it in paper and press in public, there's no doubt, you know.
When I was reading the story, I was afraid for the man before I now got to the part where he had to do a DNA test for the second wife and her children. My fear was for a woman to have 1, 2, 3 in the same house with you, and they are not your children. Are you sure you do not have the problem? And then I went further and saw that he now did the DNA test for the second wife and realized that they were his. So that means that he had the capacity to give children to the first wife, but the first wife did not collect. She decided to take it from outside. Now, what I would say is, exactly. No, she collected from outside instead of collecting from the one inside. What I would say is, I think it's very important that we start paying attention to the decisions that we make. In as much as we try not to let the sins of the father visit the children, at some point it will come on the children. Now, if she had paid attention to how she decided to live and have children and give it to another man to take care of, she shouldn't feel bad that the man would decide to make it public. Because I know that the kids are going to be affected right now. Forever. But this man is hurt. This man is pained. And this is the way he just wants to put it out there. He doesn't care because right now he's working with his emotions. And it's okay to have that emotions. It's like saying, I beat you, and then I will tell you not to cry. You can't beat me and collect my cry. This is how this man has decided to cry. No, I may like to shout outside, though. It's my pattern, it's my choice. So we can't say that he shouldn't have. Right now, he's not in that space to even listen to anybody at all. He's feeling very betrayed. How can I marry somebody this long and not even one? He did not even mix the children for me to say, give me the middle one. Everything
we'll
for somebody
talk about
else.
The perspective of the second wife who's having to deal with the fallout of that betrayal. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, thanks for staying with us. This is a very sad story, but I'm trying to understand how the second wife must feel. The wife at home who had to now go through subjecting her children to DNA tests.
I would leave that to Miriam. But let me talk about Obiajulu's point of him being emotional and the need to be. he was emotional. According to that same press briefing he wrote, he addressed family members. He called her family, even though they were no longer married, and people came. He invited them, people showed up because of the interest of the children. You showed them the evidence you had. This happened since August.
Yes.
You showed them the evidence you had. You addressed the issue of you not being the father of those children biologically, and everything don't finish. You understand? No matter what that woman is bringing on now, no matter what right she's claiming, and I don't think she was. I read whatever back to back. She's not claiming anything, but maybe for the sake of putting facts out there, maybe so that you don't have somebody disputing your will, because there's a section of the Administration of Estates that allows you come as a dependent of a deceased person and claim some part of his estate that he didn't provide for you. But then, even then, there are ways to deal with this issue. You can have it written and read at the point of your death that, you know, these people I have disclaiming totally, and I don't think you should disclaim totally. Even as Muslims, that we don't have rights over our estates, except a 1/3 of it. That 1/3 is to cover for issues like this. So if I have raised a child or I adopted a child who ordinarily, under the Quran, is not my Quranic heir, that child is provided for from 1/3 of the estate that I have free will over. You can cover those children out of the magnanimity of your heart and bless them. They don't know better, and they didn't commit any sin. The reckless life of their mother brought this upon them. But to make them pay for it for a lifetime is something I totally disagree about. And I know, even when you're asking the question of the second wife, she would not wish it onto these children.
So yes, talking about the fallout, the fallout would have been in the beginning, finding out that all 3 of the first children were not his, and so she had to prove. She had to now prove that her own children were his. So that's the fallout, where you now know that your trust has to be earned. You have to do something other than, you must believe me, I would never do that to you. But beyond that, I think what she'll be feeling really bad for her own children as well, because as far as her children are concerned, these are my big brothers and sisters, you know. Now that our father has come out to say this, do we sit these little ones down now and tell them, do you know that they are no longer your brother and sister?
You know, the press is everywhere.
Yes. The thing is, we have put it out there. These little ones too, God, you know they are not your brother and your sister. I just feel that with that press statement, you just brought in much more wahala into your home than if you had handled this privately.
I feel that the second wife herself has been betrayed. Because if you're in a marriage, it's a partnership, like I always say, and you have been raising these children. See, it's not easy to raise another woman's child. I'm going to say it here over and over because I have experienced it. If it's from your womb, it's different. You have been raising another woman's children thinking they were your husband's. And now, after how many years, you realize that all the labor you were putting, all the love, they do not belong to your husband. There's no blood connection. You have just been laboring for somebody else. Even as the second wife, she will feel betrayed. I believe so.
I don't agree.
And she may now start, after a while, after all the betrayal feelings would have, fizzled away, she will start counting her blessings to say, thank God, after all, my children are now the legitimate, I am now the first wife officially. You know, that sort of thing. But to take away that betrayal, it's not going to be easy for them to adjust. She has a lot of explanations to start making to her own children that these people are no longer...
Can I just respond to that? I do not agree that she will be feeling any betrayal. It's not her place to feel betrayal. I think right now, even what her role will be to mediate. What will happen is that she now finds herself in that position where she understands her husband's pain, but she has built a relationship with these children, and she's not so much involved in it that she can work to bring these people together. Her place is not a place of betrayal. Yes, she's the one. She is the one that will try to arrange. Taking care of the children.
If it was matron that placed her child in the hospital,
that one is different.
No, it's not a different thing. It's another woman's child.
Yes, the thing is, you find yourself, you don't carry it on your head. That's the thing. It's not your fight. It's not your war. That's the truth.
It's my taking care of.
And that's what happens. You know, even apart from children, usually when you find situations like this where there's a former wife and then there are children, you find a woman who has come into married second time is fighting the fight that husband and former wife is fighting. We were not part of it. It was because of that fight you found yourself. There's an availability for you to this. It's not your fight.
Exactly. May I respond to Mariam to say that it is my taking care of. This woman has taken care of that children. And it's even possible that at the time she was laboring and taking care of those children, that first wife was giving her hell. That first one was telling the children different things about her, and she was still, trying to make her husband happy. Make the husband happy, make the children happy, make the children love her and see her as her own. Only for you to realize they are not even your husband's children.
Another story that we found online that I think is very, very interesting for all of us as consortium of women, married women, to discuss.
Okay.
It's the story of changing name. Now, all of us changed our name, right?
Oh, I didn't change my name.
This one combined name.
You were smart.
You combined your name.
Can you please find the story?
Yes.
That poor lady was forced to.
Yes. So a reporter mentioned that when she went to do her passport, immigration renewal, to the immigration office to renew her passport, she was confronted by immigration officers who felt it wrong that she was still bearing her maiden name even after being married. And she was not just, it wasn't just a passing comment, it was an interrogative session. They kept coming, different people were now coming, they didn't stop talking about it over and over again, that why did she not change her name? She said, I was judged harshly by the immigration staff when I went to renew my international passport for keeping my name and refusing to bear my husband's name. It was so bizarre to them that, yes, her name is Aisha Salahuddin. She works with Punch, I believe, because this tweet came from Punch's official Twitter handle, and she was reporting her experience at the immigration service. She said one of the women even expressed shock that I didn't change my state of origin.
Hey.
I'm like,
who does that?
it feels almost ridiculous that women have to fight to keep their identities, who they are. Why must everything be tied to a man? I am an individual with it. So, Nima.
Let me say this was my experience.
Oh, okay.
So I got married just as I was going to law school. NYSC and all of that now jam. At the Supreme Court, after I was called as AKASHAT-ZIBIRI, and my full names, the Supreme Court, I dropped my marriage certificate, status, married. Name, AKASHAT-ZIBIRI. They say, where's your husband's name? I say, don't worry about that. My name is my name. I was made to put down my husband's name in place of my father's name at the Supreme Court. Wow.
So I'll let you conclude that story after this break.
Okay.
Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll discuss this issue of change of name. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, so Nima, you were giving us this story about how your name became
to enter the lawyer's core register. There's a procedure that we do at the Supreme Court. They say I should explain why I am married and there's no Mrs. in the name, or why I'm not using my husband's name. I dragged with one woman. Fortunately, there was one hijabite among the registers. I just let this woman pass, so I was able to escape that one. But NYSC, I was, what do you call it? How they postponed there. I was sent to Kogi.
Deployed.
My camp, I was deployed to Kogi State, wherever their camp was. I got there, I brought my marriage certificate as my grounds to be redeployed to Lagos and all of that. And the woman said, Madam, you are not married. I said, Madam, very, very married. This is my paper and everything. She said I must be Mrs. Zibiri or nothing. We had this argument. I had connections. I called my uncle, who's retired now from NYSC, and he was in Kogi as well. He came, he spoke to her. She seemed to have been calm. And then I got to Lagos. I didn't even notice anything until post-service. You know, when we were going to get and my full certificate was sent. I am now Nima Zibiri. There's no Akashat in any part of it. And that woman did to me like this.
You will see.
I don't understand. Oh. I'm a Muslim. And by Islam, I don't lose my identity to marriage. I remain my father's daughter, and I would have proudly remained one. You know me, the way I used to carry it on my head. As you say, there's nothing else.
Even in the marriage, you carry it on your head.
I carry it well with all pride, because I don't know how I will repay my father if I quickly change his name. I don't know. That was a major battle for me. I would have even thought if Islam didn't make marriage so important, to just escape marriage because I don't want to lose that identity entirely. Yes. If it was such an important thing, I would have left it quickly. You people that want to marry, marry. Leave us that we don't want to marry. But Islam has made marriage important. So constantly, from the age of 21, I kept thinking, how am I going to remain AKASHAT-ZIBIRI? I don't want to change. When you
get married.
So legally, there's no law insisting that we lose our identity. It is a tradition in England when the women married those days because they were part of their husband's estate. So change their identity to reflect the new estate. It is not our own culture in Africa. Nor is it our religion. Really? Why you carry on for head like
I have a celebrity guest. I want her to join this interview, this discussion rather. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. I'm so happy. I want to read your... I'd love to... Let me introduce you properly. So,
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Oh, okay.
I want to see you. Please let me see you.
Can you see us now?
I cannot, so but I can hear you clearly.
Oh, okay. So, let me quickly get Mariam's opinion on our discussion is centered around the changing of names. How did it occur to you that you don't want to change your name?
No, I didn't mind changing my name. I like the name Longe. I'm tall. My husband is tall. So Longe just saying, My mother-in-law used to say that when she lived in England, people called her Mrs. Long, Mrs. Long. So, I mean, longs were long.
Sweet.
So I know I've had conversations like that where people are going back and forth whether to keep their
but I
name.
really wanted to keep my name.
Like, I played with the idea of like the double-barreled names, but I don't mind the name. It's fine. It's nice. So for me, I don't think it's a big deal if that is your choice. But also, I feel that if you do not want it, it should also, and the spouses agree between themselves, it should not be a big, it should not be a problem. But for me, it was okay. It's nice to have my children also bear my name. I don't know, maybe because I lost my dad so early and I did not have the sort of relationship that you had with yours. Maybe if I had that, maybe I would have felt a sense of loss when I didn't.
I have a very strong affinity for I used to carry my name on my head. My name is Temitope Udubela. Like I used to, when I'm introducing myself, it was with pride. Like Temitope Udubela, like Udubela. I used to say over and over again, like, so I didn't want to drop my name. I didn't want to. I actually thought I dropped, but like even before. So that's why what I say is that love carried me. I carried me totally. Like it was anything I was going to do. So, but what was your own?
For me, I would say I did not have sense at the time I was getting married because I didn't think about this conversation of name. Should I keep the name? Should I take away the name? Did not come into my consciousness. So I didn't have it. But if I had sense, I would have, wanted to keep my husband's direct name and not the family name. Because the family name is way, I don't even know who the Igbo man is. I don't know who he is. It's way. I would have just answered Uche or combined it with Ije. I used to be Ije, Uche. Yeah, very sweet. BC Ije was just so sweet. Or BC Uche, Mrs. BC Uche. That kind of thing. But I didn't have sense that time, Jare.
I think, funny enough, we had this conversation. Thank you for reminding me. That's why my name is double barreled, actually. The plan was that my name was going to become, we were going to become Mrs. Mark. Like, we were going to take his first name, but we didn't want Odige. But then I got into TVC and all my papers carried Odige. So I had to now say, we'll still drop the Odige later. Let's start with Tokwe Makodige. Yeah. And then Tokwe Makodige became TMO. Yes. And TMO now became...
I remember the conversation.
So,
I didn't have that choice.
Yes, it was...
And if you have to change
I think
it
the conversation concerning this particular lady is the way she was...
How she was shamed.
Yes, how she was shamed for it.
It's a serious issue. This patriarchy thing. Is the society forcing you to lose whatever value? So whatever you want to be identified with is what you value. What is important to you. And I'm seriously in love with my husband. Very much in love with him. I'd have loved to be called Mrs. Mohammed, not Mrs. Zibiri, because just like BC explained, I don't know the Zibiris. I will not force an Akokia on anybody. I don't even use my family name. I use my father's name.
Yeah, direct.
Yeah. So I'm an Akokia's daughter, granddaughter, family. But I don't use Akokia. The family is too wide. I mean, where will you place a hand?
So you see, this topic here is also very, very relevant to our guests. And of course, we all do not agree with the enforcement and shaming of someone's decision not to take up a name. Nobody should be shamed. No woman, no married woman should be shamed for deciding not to take up her husband's name. It is not compulsory. As long as both man and wife agree, it is fine. But let me introduce our guest because she has something to say about this. She's a multidimensional singer whose genre of songs include folk, soul, and gospel with good lyrical presentation. She's one of Nigeria's most popular indigenous singers. She's won different awards. Welcome with us, SOLA Allison. Welcome to the show. It's so good to have you. So I know that you are SOLA-OBANIYI, but people still call you SOLA Allison. So definitely this is something you understand very well. What was it like when you got married?
Is it about the name?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I got married as SOLA Allison. I was already known before I got married, and of course my name stuck with me. But after I got married, I had to become Mrs. Obaniyi. And because of my work, because of the marketing of my work, so we decided to make it SOLA Allison-OBANIYI so that people will know that it's the same SOLA Allison that is now married. But along the line, my husband is somebody who is he's not too African in the way he thinks. So we thought, okay, the name is too long. It's either we choose SOLA-OBANIYI or SOLA Allison. And we knew that SOLA Allison was already known. Okay. So, I mean, I stayed by SOLA Allison. And some people would want to force it down my throat that say you have to be SOLA Allison-OBANIYI because you are a married woman. And I always tell them that my work is me. My work is not my marriage. And so if I have to fill a form, if I have to be family now, so I can stay SOLA-OBANIYI. So if I have to work, but my own didn't start because I didn't want to be a SOLA-OBANIYI. My own just started because I needed to maintain that name for my work.
Okay, we'll take a break now. People might not remember your face because you're not in that character of SOLA Allison. So I'm going to take a break. When we come back, we would play your music and then introduce you properly to all our viewers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Ayoti Day, joy has come. This is typical. I was looking forward to seeing you with the turban, but we didn't see our guest with the turban. So now you know who Ayo Allison, SOLA Allison is. SOLA Allison, you did not come with the turban.
I wanted to, I thought I was going to come physically, but you said, and I don't, it takes a lot of work for me to wear makeup and do that. So you have given me, freedom to just be in my house and with you. So I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it that I'm not wearing turban because it's a lot of work actually. It looks nice, but it's a lot of work.
When you're fine, you're fine. You're a beautiful woman. Even without makeup, you're still looking very pretty. But it's really good to have you. So,
thank you.
Into your career, you've been in this industry for many years, and to a large extent, you have one of the most unique voices. Like I don't need to see you. To know this is your voice. Did you stumble into the singing, the way you sing, or you deliberately you trained your voice into sounding like that, or why? How come you have that distinct, unique, and it's the same way you sound every time?
Well, I believe that it's a gift. It's my gift. Of course, the way you do your program and it's unique and everybody wants to watch. And I've always wondered, why have these people not invited me? What did I do? Why have I not gone to TV, see your view? Kino Shelley, I know these things they discuss. I have passion for all this. But it's okay. It's okay, Shaq. I'm here. So I believe it's just my gift, and we all know that talent is never enough. So I'm a trained musician. I'm a learned musician because I studied music in school. So I know this is my voice. It's unique like this. It's not sounding like that. This is what I'm supposed to do to maintain it like this and maintain it like that. It's just about discovering who you are, and if I was using the voice to sing another genre of music, it might not have sounded as distinct as this. Maybe. So because I knew, of course, I know who I am. I know what I'm called for. I know what I have and what I'm supposed to use it.
Shola, may I just quickly disagree that I think your voice would be good for any genre of music that you chose, because of
that's what I'm saying. I think
vocals that you have. But why did you decide this genre and the Yoruba, influenced music that you sing seems to give you a particular market, creates this uniqueness to you that you cannot be adulterated.
Yeah. You said, if I heard your question well, why did I decide
to stick to this genre and the Yoruba language influence? Yes.
Okay. Yes. Where did I decide? I don't think I decided. It just keeps happening. It kept happening before I became intentional about it. Before I knew, I started singing. I've been in the music industry for over 13 years as a backup singer. When you're a backup singer, when you do signature tunes, people don't know you until
you come out.
2003 when Bimbo Chin did that film Ejoro, and I did the soundtrack for the film. That was when they made it into an album, and of course it became like this.
I wish.
So I started to be.
I love that.
I started to be intentional. I started to be intentional with it when I got to know that the way I sing makes people feel a particular way. I wasn't intentional about it. I just wanted to sing. I just wanted to express myself as an artistic person. I just wanted to show that me too, I can do it. It is inside me. My words.
I like our energy.
But I started to be intentional about it when I knew that my voice, my calling, my life is too small to be focused on my life. When I knew that the songs I sing have a particular effect on people's souls. So it's not like I chose. I just found, and that's what I say, that we should be sensitive to our journey. So when you are sensitive to your journey, when you pay attention, you will know at every point, the point at which you need to switch or stay on something, or to advance, or to stay for a while, and all of that.
So true.
So that's the way it is for me. And I always say the story is still being written. It has not finished. Who knows? Who knows what will happen in the next 10 years? Who knows what will happen in the next 5 years and all of that. But I'm intentional about it because I know that I have a purpose.
Shola, Mariam wants to throw in something.
Okay, so Shola, while reading about you, there was an interview I think you had, and you were saying that when it comes to gospel music, people normally question, why doesn't she have God, Jesus, Bible quotes in it? And, you were saying something about not being boxed into a certain genre, not being boxed using certain words or quotes, and that your message comes straight from God. So the reason I'm referring to that is that sometimes I see some songs where, they are club bangers, and the dancing that's associated with them are quite, explicit. And then you hear the Christianized version in church, and in the beginning it's a bit uncomfortable. What do you think about that? Do you think that also falls into what you were trying to talk about?
Well, I don't want to sound judgmental or condemning to people's works, but what I know is I'm a Christian and I'm just a singer. That's all. I'm a singer. I'm not in the Bible that I know. There is no mention of gospel music. What is mentioned in the Bible is hymns and spiritual songs. I believe it's somebody's idea, some people's idea that wanted to aggrandize their religion or aggrandize their belief system. That is what I believe. That's my personal belief. So that they can appear better than other people and all of that. See, when the Bible that I know, the literatures that I've read, the documentaries I've seen about Jesus, it didn't come to bring a religion. Jesus brought no religion. Jesus brought a way of life. Jesus came to direct us back to God. Before Jesus came, they were worshiping God. But things got disorganized. And God wanted to call us back to Him, and He sent His Son to come to us. That is what I believe. And I believe in Him, I believe in His message, but I don't believe that there should be a discrimination. That's okay, because I have a gift now, I want to sing, I didn't go to school to study gospel music, I went to school to study music, and I can use my music as a form of evangelism, calling everybody into the light of God that I'm experiencing. So for me, if you see my music, you may not hear Jesus, but you know Jesus is there, God is there. If you know your Father, if you are a true child of your Father, if they mention your Father without mentioning your Father, you should know that it's your Father being mentioned.
Talking about.
You know, it doesn't have to go a particular
That is
way.
deep.
It is the spirit of the music, the ambience of the music. There are some music that I hear. For instance, Simi's remind me. Simi. I mean, that's
yes, we know Simi.
A song reminds me. A song when I listen to that song, it's like I'm listening to a preaching. It's like I'm listening to a sermon. You know, if your spirit is awake by yourself, a song does not need to be tagged gospel before you know what the song is talking about, before you know what the song is directing you to do. So that's the way I do my music. I'm not doing music for Christians alone. Okay, if you say you have light, why are you staying inside light? Light is useless inside light. Light can only be useful inside darkness. So where you think that's where you should carry your light.
So true.
I have a couple of questions in my head, but because of time, I think I should just focus on one, which is, you know, in your interview, you talked about how you deal with haters. We're in a world where we see people who are in the public space as superior beings. So if somebody comes to your page and, you know, writes insult and just loads you, and they expect you not to react because you are seen in that space. And you also mentioned you don't want to take any evangelist or deaconess or anything attached to your name so that you can respond like a human being. How has it been for you? How have you been responding to people who do not agree with you? Even friends who do not like your music?
It's been good for me. See, I'm enjoying my life. See that, see me on your view that I've always wanted to come. See me, don't worry. I'm just me. I believe it's the person that I am that matters. I don't believe that people have to accept. When I grew up not being accepted anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm used to it. If you don't accept me, please go. There are other people that are coming that will accept me. It's because you don't understand what I stand for. It is not everybody that will accept you. It is not everybody that will like you. Many people will not like you, but you have to know that there are many other people that will like you. I have just been able to ascertain and come to full acceptance of what my journey is. So if you say, because I don't mention Jesus in my songs, you are not going to listen to my, please go and let people that will listen. If you say, because I don't have the title of Lady Evangelist in my song, in my name, because of that, I'm singing for the demons. And people who have Lady Evangelist in their name, we see the result. You know, by their fruits we shall know them. I'm not doing my music or my song so that people will like me. When this is what that I know, said, when he was here, people did not like him. If Jesus was walking the earth again now, all these people that call his name wouldn't like him. Because he didn't stand for him to be liked. He didn't stand so that people would like him. That's not what he stands for. He stands for the truth and the truth only.
We're almost out of time.
If you come to my page,
we're almost out of time, and I am really enjoying your confident vibe.
Energy.
Honestly, I want to bring you on a Thursday, and we will just gist about multiple topics. We've seen you, we've seen your light, we've seen the way you shine and your confidence, so we'll definitely bring you back. But I don't want to leave without asking you what you're working on, and we're almost out of time. So tell us in brief, what's the next project? What are we expecting from Sola Allyson?
In a sentence.
Okay. Okay. So my work, I have a new work now. The title is Isodo. So it was actually the song was released today, this 12 a.m. today.
Wow! Congratulations!
It's my 9th album and it's available on all digital platforms worldwide. The CD will be available like next week. So I mean, it's Isodo. So, and as usual, Isodo is, some people will say it's Otun, but for me it's not Otun. It's the process of being made new. You know, it's the process of being transformed. I don't want to get to the point where I will say I've become new, I've become okay, and all of that. And I'm ready for everybody who can identify with my music or whose souls wants to stay awake, will be blessed and their souls will be fed.
All right, guys.
My sons in his
for her. So Lima Adejoke Adeyemi says, I should tell Mrs. Obaniyi, that's you, that she always enjoys your songs and your personality.
Don't call me Mrs. Obaniyi.
Okay, he's your Twitter fan. Oh. Let me read my tweet to JJ. His message they send me. Oh. So he said, I love her responses on the radio program she attended on Tuesday. Love you all and your Kampala attires. Much love to Mariah.
Thank you. We need to go.
Okay, so
thank you so much. Thank you. It's been a fantastic week hosting. I know we all missed Mariah. Don't worry. Stay tuned by next week. She'll be back by God's grace. Have had a fabulous time. Thanks for your support. Thank you, ladies, for helping me through this week.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.